Hello and welcome to my tutorial for Unreal Engine 4, and this one we are gonna talk about dynamic split screen. So let's start with 4.21.0. I've done this tutorial like 3 times now, so I have had so many issues but I hope this time it's gonna work. So let's create a side scroller. Let's call the project shared camera. Let's do dynamic shared camera and side scroller. Let's create. So let me tell you in short what's the idea. You know the scene capture node. So I'm gonna use that, project it to a widget, and then have the widget on, like visible, when the characters are far from each other. So that's in short the whole idea. Now it could be performance problem, I'm not sure to be honest, because I tried it only with a small game and the frame rate was perfectly fine. But I don't know, if you have maybe too many particles, too many characters, too many things happening in the scene, then it might be a performance issue. So let's hope someone from the community would answer me for the performance issues, if we have any with this method. So to start with, let's go to the project settings and let's disable the split screen. Let's just keep assigning the gamepad to player 1 so I can try the player 2. Save it. Now let's create a folder, call it dynamic camera, and let's create a blueprint actor, call it camera BP, and within this guy let's have the usual camera stuff. So this one is gonna be the shared camera, this one is just a normal one. We don't need the collision. That's it for this one. So next, let's create a texture, there we go, texture render target, and let's call it, instead of new, let's call it P1 texture render, and let's duplicate it immediately, and let's create P2, and then let's take both of them and let's create materials out of those. Now this will need to be converted later into a UI shader, but let's leave it for now. Now let's create a scene. Come on, work with me. Scene capture 2D. Yep. And let's call it P1 scene. Yeah, let's call it scene capture, duplicated, and let's call this one P2 scene capture. And immediately let's start hooking things up. So for this one, let's see, if we go to the screen capture component, scroll down, and here we hook this guy up. And then for this scene capture 2, let's go all the way, here we go, and let's hook this guy up. Compile, save, and we're done here. Next, let's go to our guy here, and let's create child actor. You will see in a second why, but I can tell you immediately that I want to have their own cameras. It will be accessible once they are separated. So I think this is the easiest way, or maybe this is the way that I found it easiest. Compile, and let's have this under the spring camera, and let's duplicate it immediately, and let's call it P2 camera. Now for P1, I think you guessed it, we hook this guy. Where is it? Here we go. And for the camera 2, we hook this guy. Compile, save. As you can see, it's already updated. Oh, by the way, we don't need this guy. So next, let's create our widget, and let's call it screens widget. Now let's start with the resolution. Now, assuming that this game is going for, I don't know, TV, because I do a lot of PlayStation, well, not a lot, but I mean I work mainly with PlayStation games, and I'm assuming that it's going to a TV. So this is the resolution of the TV. Now this is 1920 by 1080. Once we split it, it will be 1920 by 540, right? It's half the screen, half the top. So let's keep that in mind. And before we forget, let's go actually to the textures, and let's just do that 1920 by 540. Done. The other one as well, 1920 by 540. And then here, let's create an image, duplicate it. This one will take this texture, brush. Oh, here we go. Change the material domain. Yep, change it and make it 1920 by 540. And the next one as well. Yep, change it 1920 by 540. Now compile and save. This guy, we will need it. I will come back to it, but before I forget, as you can see here, it's a black cube because the material is disconnected once we changed the domain, as they called it. So let's hook them back up. Here we go. Now let's save everything. So widget, they need to be anchors to the full screen, and let's do 0 0 0 in all of them. Same thing with this one, 0 and 0. Okay, that's a start. So we need to see what the hell is going on. So let's have this guy here, just so we get something to see. And maybe just get let's see, character. Where are you? Nope. Oh, mesh. No, not meshes. Where are you? Oh, mannequin. Here we go. And characters, meshes. Let's have those guys here as references. Here we go. Now back to the dynamic, and let's go to our widget, and here we go. Now we have some reference. So this one is for the player one. So if we crop it from the bottom, I think 500. Yeah, 500, that's fine. and this one from the top also 500. Yep, that's fine. Let's see, this one needs to be on top, so let's make it like that. Well, you get the idea. What you need to do is like find a balance here so they look fine to you, but maybe transform Y slightly. Here we go, that works, I think. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time here because you guys want to see what's happening next. Here we don't need anything. So compile, save. That's pretty much all what we need from the widget. Oh, actually no. What we are going to do is to hide and set visibility for this guy based on the distance of the characters. So let's call it screens for now. I don't know why. Very convenient. And save it. Now we can skip this out. We don't need those references, so let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of the cameras. Let's have more player starts. Save all. Now, next. Oh, there is a whole lot of script that needs to go in this one. When I say whole a lot, I mean considerably a lot of script going here. But we will come back to this. So let's go to the blueprint. The level blueprint, that's it. That is. And in the begin play, obviously you can do this in other blueprints, but I'm just trying to get across the idea. I'm trying to get the idea across, and then you can do whatever you want later. Create player, and then create the widget. This widget is the screens widget. Before we add it to the screen, we need screens. Get screens, there is. Promote, let's call it screens. And then let's add to viewport. And let's put it 5, just to make sure that it's on top of everything else. Otherwise the illusion of the split screen will be broken. The other thing is in event tick, we need to get player pawn, duplicate it, and we need to get the distance between those. Now this is also up to you how far you want your players to go, but the idea is once they are too far from each other, then you want to set visibility on the screen's canvas inside your widget. So let's say 1000 for now. And that will happen every tick, and when that happens, we bring screens and we say set visibility. Same thing here. Set visibility. So if it's if it's greater or equal to 1000, then we want it visible. If it's less than 1000, which means they are close to each other, we want it to be hidden. And I think that's it for the level blueprint, so we can close this one. What else? So if we play now, we see only this guy and that guy. Right. And then we cut. Okay. Brilliant. Oh, I know why. Because we need to go to our character. Yeah, here we go. So the reason why it was cutting to skies is because we didn't tell it which camera to use. So what do? We go to tick. A lot of ticking here. That's why I was saying that it might be. Actually, no, we don't need a tick. We need a begin play, because we need to check this condition only once when we start the game, right? So we need to check if it's a player 1 or player 2. If it's player 1, we give him a player 1 camera. If it's player 2, then we give him player 2 camera. Makes sense? So get controller, and we compare that to get controller, get player controller, that is. Here we go. If there is another way of finding the player index, please let me know. And if this guy is equals to this guy, which means that he is player 1 or player 0, if you will. If he is, what do? We set this to false or to empty. Well, not that one, but components here. We set camera 2 to empty, right? Because we want camera 1 to be visible and working, and the other way around. Again, here we go, player 1. Why am I doing this? Seriously? Set. Here we go. So the idea here is if controller, like our controller, equals to controller 0, then we set the camera 2 to empty. If we are not equals to 0, which means we are equal to 1, then we set it to camera 1. Okay. What else? Let's see, where are our cameras? Compile and save. So now if we test it, so when we are close, we need to set the shared camera, but when we are far, we cut to this. Cool, isn't it? Yep. So running far away, you are here. Now player 1 is at the bottom. I don't know why. I'll fix that. See? And we are close here. Right. The next thing is to fix the shared camera, which is here. Yeah, so the next thing is to fix the camera, the shared camera. So we wanted to set location and to follow the characters, blah 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 blah. So we don't need yeah, we might actually need them. Let's see. Event tick. Let's get player pawn 0 and 1. Let's get location duplicated, and then we subtract the location of player 1 or player 0, if you will, from, if you have done this before, so you know what it is, you can go ahead and skip it. And then we set set actor location, that's the camera, our camera. We can set this to it to its location. Something wrong. Oh yeah, we need to bring those here, and we add after we divide this by 2. There we go. Yeah, that looks great. The other thing is we need the spring arm. We need to set its length. You could set it directly length, vector length. You could set it directly to there. However, the problem is when they get too close, the camera will get also too close to them. Not the pawn, but the player. Get character. Get player character. We need to set this to be the camera that our player is using. So to do that, we create the player controller, controller 1 and player controller 2. Set view target with blend for both of them. Let's put it into 1, and we need to set this to self, which is this camera. And now, as you can see, okay, sometimes this happens. So what I do, I add a delay. Nope, that didn't fix it. Let's see, player controller, set view target with blend, okay, and then get player character. Do we have it on? No, we don't have the camera here, so let's add the camera. Great. Here we go. Here we go, finally. And there you have it. When they are close to each other, we have a shared camera. You see, this is what I meant by too close. So let's fix that by adding a clamp, not that clamp but the other one, clamp, float clamp, and let's say minimum 300, for example, maximum. I add 1100, which is 100 more than the greater value that I have in the level blueprint, simply just to be on the safe side in case, you know, a delay in and the widget appearance or something, then at least I have a backup, you know, the camera is there as a backup. You don't have to do it, I did it and it works. Now you see when I get too close, the camera doesn't get too close, but when I get far, it cuts to a second player. Now I think it's time now to fix the position of the camera slightly. So let's go to our character here, and let's take this maybe I don't know, lower 50, and the other one is also -50. Let's see how does that look. Yeah, much better, much better. Now at least I can see a lot of things. And when we go into full screen, yeah, it's not very smooth, but it's a solution. It's not the perfect solution, but it's a solution. Let me know in the comment what you think about this, and if you have any ideas on how to fix it, or to make it smoother, or you know, whatever. Or if you want another tutorial, I can try to do something in the future. I don't promise, because I'm not a YouTuber, but I came up with this technique today and I thought I should share it with you guys. Alright, have a lovely weekend. Bye bye.